Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You have Drive Safe Dave, Sir Rick, and producer coming to you live, Drive Safe Dave, in a little different kind of format. We've now taken this and we're going to change a little bit up. We're going to spend a little bit more time on videos, a little bit more time on some weather as well, maybe a little less time on traffic, but we're going to continue to bring you valuable information. We have an awesome interview today with Volvo Truck. I can't wait for that. But before we jump into all of that, Dave, the weekend. You know what? A lot of action over the weekend. And I just want to start it first with a little bit of sports. Yeah, okay. A little bit of sports. We had the women championship last night. Did you get a gander of that game?
I did not watch the women's championship last night, actually.
You know what? It makes sense. I said something about that earlier.
I was tired.
Were you tired?
Yeah, I didn't watch the Grammys either.
And they shouldn't be playing basketball anyway.
I didn't watch the Grammys either. I went to bed early. I actually wasn't feeling too hot. I went to bed a little early.
Drive Safe, you typically get sick over the weekend. Is any of that alcohol induced?
Last night, no.
No?
No. Last
Typically,
night,
though?
Oh, yeah. Well, it has happened. I'm not going to lie. I've actually had an alcohol-induced sickness before. Over the years, have you never had?
Never have. It's never. I don't have the problem, Dave, like you do, to where it affects my job. I always make sure that
I'm here.
Ready to go.
Locked in.
South Carolina, the ladies from South Carolina, they win the championship yesterday against the ladies from UConn, and what a great game it was. I know the score wasn't that close, but if you bet and if you're for South Carolina, it was a great game. Great game. Sir Rick called it once again. I just want to know. I'm not so good at the men's basketball, I guess, but the women's, I've been pretty good.
Yeah, you actually called the UConn game, and then you called. I
took South Carolina because I was worried about the turnovers. Again, I said, UConn ladies, just too many turnovers, and that's not going to fly against that field that the South Carolina puts out there. Wasn't going to happen. True enough, too many turnovers, not enough baskets, equal a loss. Tonight is the big championship, though.
Yeah,
the big NCAA men, where everybody bets all the money, where 28 million brackets went in, and not one again was right.
Yeah.
KU and North Carolina.
Yep.
I'm just going to say I did have KU in there, and when my team got kicked out, I jumped on the North Carolina. I picked that one all the way through as well, calling that even yesterday on the other podcast, Draft Say.
Yeah, you did. You actually called that game. But now here we go. Here's the big one. Are you taking KU or are you taking North Carolina? Are you taking the 3-point shooters or are you taking the big boys down?
So it's a 4-point favorite right now. So KU is 4-point favorite. So it means the game starts off Carolina 4, KU 0. Who are you taking?
I'm taking North Carolina.
Ugh. All right. You know what? The fact that he said that says your money should go to KU. The fact that he said that now it hurts my feeling a little bit on who I was going to pick. I'm going to save my pick for later then. I got to make it. Maybe at the next 30-minute show, we'll show that Drive Safe, Dave, on that.
Okay. I'm
going to wait. I got to think it through because I didn't see that coming. Anything else over the weekend?
No, not for us. I mean, we did a lot of stuff around the house, so we had a lot going on at the house.
Honeydews? Some honeydews?
I had a list, and you know what? I didn't complete it. I didn't complete it yesterday. I thought I was going to get it all done.
You know what? Something says that doesn't surprise me. I don't think you complete many of your lists at work, out of work, or whatever that is. That's what it is. Hey, Dave, let's look at this right now. Okay. Let's take a little jump into what we see going on in the transportation right now. So here we go. We've been talking about that outbound tender volume and how when fuel went up, Dave, what happened? We quit buying stuff, right? Sorry,
everywhere.
Dave Dove, Drive Safe.
Drive Safe.
Who are you talking to? I'm Drive Safe, Dave.
I didn't know I was in the show yet.
You can talk.
Okay.
Oddly enough,
I quit buying a bunch of stuff. So
oddly enough, I find value in this guy. I don't even know why. Here we go. Woo. So volume has gone down, and we're looking at it from a last six-month approach. If we reduce that down and say, okay, what have you done for me lately? The last 3 months. We see coming off the holiday right here, here's the freight, and we see a major drop down around the same time we saw fuel jump up. Hey, Dave, what about those rejections? And again, rejections of freight that the carriers are saying no to. Let's see if we can get an update here. Okay, we do.
It's way down.
No, we're down. It is. It updated. Look at this.
We're way down here.
Look at this in the last 3 months. Rejections up here, and also what was up here was freight, being tendered out. Tenders were up here, rejections were up here, leaving a lot of freight on that spot market freight.
And just a few trucks vying for a lot of freight. So now we've got it flipped a lot. Now we still have. Now we're our freight volume's down. We're down to under 14,000, and 13% of that freight being rejected. Those are big, big numbers that affect your bottom line out there. You've got to now today to really pay attention to that market. We're big users of sonar. We're big users of the data that it brings us. And if you're a trucking company, if you're an executive, if you're a driver out there right now, independent contractor running under your own authority, don't focus so much on the dollars that we say. Focus on the trends. Right, Dave? We're big believers that, these data points, they're telling a story on the trend. It may not match exactly to your dollar, but listen to me, it follows the trend line. Look at the fuel, Dave. We saw that fuel just jump up to 5.10. We look at the last 3 months once again, and we're going to see that, if we can, heck, maybe that is the last 3 months. Let's look at the last month. The last month, fuel has stabilized. Okay, above $5.
So it's stabilized. So what that tells the trucking company is that we're able to pass that fuel on. The brokers, the large brokers, we're able to take that consistent price, and John Kingston spoke a little bit about the dips and valleys, right, of that fuel. We're able to take that dollar, pass that on to our customer. Pass it on to you, those who are buying product, right? Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden you're spending more money. Not only are you spending more money, but that company you're buying for is spending a lot more money on that as well. So we see it at 5.10, Dave. That again speaks trouble to that independent contractor that's out there running under his or her own authority. Dave, we're going to finish it out right here. We look at the last 1 month. Fuel's up 23%. Freight payment, freight to your carrier, the spot market rate, down 6%. Freight volume down 12%. And the rejections also down 30%.
Huge.
It's a lot of big dips, a lot of big challenges. If you're an independent contractor out there and you're wondering where your money is, this is where it is. You're not getting it. Rates are down, fuel's up. You have got to watch these trends and make sure you're taking freight plenty in advance because everything points downward right now. We'll be back with our interview with Volvo in about 60 seconds. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Welcome back to BCB Live.
Well, okay.
Wow. That's not even a tongue twister.
Yeah, you got it.
Hey, try saying that 3 times fast. BCB Live. It's not real hard to say. Drive safe. Dave, we have with us today another great interview from Volvo Truck Lines. Dave, you want to do the introduction?
Hey, yeah. Hey, this is Ashley. How are you doing today, Ashley? Ashley American with Volvo Truck. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great this morning. Hey, so do us a favor. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do over there at Volvo?
Yeah, I'm Ashley Murrican. I'm the product marketing manager for safety and connected services at Volvo Trucks. So I mainly serve as a subject matter expert for safety and connected services at Volvo Trucks. So yeah, I'm here to answer any of your questions.
Yeah, so today we actually brought you in. We heard we want to talk a little bit about Volvo Action Service. So we want to hear a little bit about Volvo Action Service, what it is, what it means. So kind of just explain to us what Volvo Action Service is and what its premise is.
Yeah, so Volvo Action Service is a group of people that sit in Greensboro in this big building called the Uptime Center. There's around 50 people. Their main job is to monitor all our customers' trucks 24/7. When I say monitor, they're mainly looking at remote diagnostics. So they're monitoring your engine, after treatment, and transmission for any fault codes. And what they do is they'll figure out if something's going to fail. They do predictive fault code monitoring, and then they would contact the customer and let them know, hey, this is a critical fault code. You better look at it right now. And this is the nearest service location. We're going to schedule everything for you, from the service to the repair and all that. Or they might say that, this fault code is not critical. You can actually look at it after you drop off your load, stuff like that. So.
Hey, actually, so you're telling me that they're monitoring it. So the truck is actually always communicating with the Uptime Center. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So it's like an extra set of eyes on your entire truck. Yeah.
So how is it communicating always? Is it going over the cell lines? How is it doing that? Is it like a digital, like the phone service? So it always sends these data points over to the Action Service?
Correct. Yes. It's got a telematics gateway, and then using that, it's communicating using cellular network to the Uptime Center. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So now, if I have a set of Volvo trucks out there, I can have you be not only the driver, but Volvo's actually looking at it on the front end, right? Making sure that everything is there, looking at it. What are some of the new things going on at Action Service? We kind of heard there's some new exciting stuff going on over there.
Right, yeah. So there's remote diagnostics, which I spoke about, and there's remote programming where you can actually update software and parameters on your truck over the air. You don't have to bring it into the dealership. That would take maybe 2.5 days to do, but here you can do it in 10 minutes. So if you want to update your engine or transmission with the latest software, that means it's running most efficiently, then you can do that over the air. And all you got to do is follow the prompts in your driver information display, and you're good to go, right? It's that simple. That's with remote programming. And then recently we introduced a new service tracker tool. So we're trying to digitize the breakdown experience. So let's say, for example, you end up with an unplanned stop. You need a tow truck. So you call Volvo Action Service. So what they do is within 2 minutes, they'll send you a text on your phone saying that, okay, your towing truck has been dispatched, and click this link to track your towing truck. And then you get all the information about the tow truck name, and then you get the Uber and Lyft-like experience. You can actually track the tow truck, and you have basically transparency, and it's more safe because you know where your tow truck is. You don't have to keep calling Volvo Action Service again and saying, hey, where's my truck at? Where's my tow truck at? So
is that an app, or you just click the text message? Is that a physical
text message, and then it takes you to
okay, I got you. No, that's pretty interesting. And do you have an app that goes along with the Volvo Action Service for the people out there? Tell us a little bit about it.
So it's called Assist. So with that app, you get, it's basically the fleet manager or the driver, mainly the fleet manager. They have access to all the service repairs, the status of the truck. You can approve repairs on it. You can issue purchase orders on it. So it's basically a web service, which is the one-stop shop for all your service information. That can be used to communicate with the dealership, with Volvo Action Service, and all of that. So.
Okay, so here's the big question. How are the drivers reacting to this service out there on the road? I mean, I want to know what kind of feedback you're getting.
So, we just introduced the service tracker tool as of April 1st. I mean, this month, so we've done pilots, and they really like it, because before it was taking 1.5 hours, half an hour to get a response, and then 1 hour, suddenly the tow truck is on the way, but then you have no certainty. It could take 1.5 hours, it could take 2 hours because of traffic delays or anything. But now they have visibility. They know that, okay, my tow truck is going to show up in half an hour. So they're really happy, because uncertainty is the worst. So you have more transparency, more comfortable, right? And with respect to remote programming, we just made a new update where you can actually make the updates at your own convenience just by following the prompts on your driver information display, just like how you would do updates on your phone. You know, you have your iPhone, they say that you have a software update, do it tonight, you do it at your own. It's the same thing. So it's really convenient now, and people are really liking it. So, great feedback.
You know, when you talk about this, and I'll tell you, it feeds a lot into productivity. I mean, to us here in the world out there, what you're doing is you're allowing to get some of these PM options done quickly and efficiently, and you're also not pulling it into a shop, not scheduling appointments, not having a lot of downtime. It's actually a lot better for drivers and companies alike to be able to have these services done in a remote deal. I'll tell you, what's really exciting is that as this develops, I have experienced more personally, more and more digital type issues than mechanical type issues, you know, like sensor issues, and there's more and more of those, and you're finding them on the front end instead of us calling you going, hey, I'm broke down, right?
Exactly. We're using machine learning algorithms to figure out if it's going to be a fault before it even happens. Exactly. Yeah, we can predict it.
Hey, Ashley, I'm going to hop in here. My name's Sir Rick. I know Drive Safe Dave. He takes over the show, and he'll just keep asking questions, and he won't even let you answer either. That's the beauty of Drive Safe Dave. He kind of answers the question for you, what he said. That's what I said. So here we go. Uptime Center, just love the name in general because it's designed to keep the trucks up. I want you to explain it to a driver that's out there for a company that's new to what they're hearing right now. And basically what you're saying is that you're managing the system to identify and tell that driver, tell that customer, tell that carrier, I guess, that, hey, you know what? I know something's wrong with your truck, whether you know it or not. And you're trying to route them to if it needs to be fixed right now or next week. You're going to say, hey, push it off a little bit because we know it's not a critical sensor. What else do you do besides that on that uptime side?
Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly. So on top of that, let's say once we let you know if it's critical or non-critical. If it's a red code, it's really critical. If it's a yellow code, then you can look at it after the fact. But let's say it's critical. Then what we do is we immediately don't just leave you there. It's real people that providing real solutions. So it's Volvo Action Service. So what we'll do is we'll tell you that this is the nearest dealership. We're gonna let you know that you can go there immediately if it's really critical. And then by the time you're at the dealership, the diagnostics information would have already been sent to the dealership, right? And the dealership already knows, what kind of issue is this? And the dealership also is segmented in such a way that it's got an uptime bay and a normal bay. An uptime bay is for those things that need repairs less than 4 hours. And a normal bay is something that needs more than 4 hours. So you don't have to wait in line behind somebody who needs a longer job, right? So you can easily route yourself and go and get back on the road. So all this data is sent from the uptime center to the dealer, and the dealer knows exactly what to do. So again, just preparing everything. And then but also the parts that are required to make your repair will be ready at the dealership as well because of all this data, right?
Hey, question on that, and again, I usually find a little kink in the software. So here we go, and usually when I find that kink, it gets said that that's on the next update. That's usually what we hear. So here it goes. So when you have somebody, a truck, if Drive Safe Dave is driving that truck and he's going to Dallas, Texas, and that he's going to be at that uptime center in 4 hours, does that uptime center also know, based on the diagnostics that you have where his truck is, do they know that he's going to be there in 4 hours? Are they GPS and say he's getting a little bit closer? He'll be here in 30 minutes. Hey, folks, let's get the parts ready to go. Drive Safe Dave's almost here.
Oh, yeah, you can do all of that. Of course, yeah. They're with you along the way throughout. They know where your truck is. They can communicate with the customer, with the dealer, and the driver. Yep.
I've had unfortunately, I've had some experience with the Uptime Center. I will tell you that what's very encouraging is that y'all follow that through. Volvo Uptime follows that problem all the way from the front all the way to the end. They follow through all the way when it comes to that uptime participation. They make sure not only are you scheduled in to get it done, but they contact the bay, they contact the dealership, they contact the service center, and then they contact you after it's done. I mean, it's kind of a full deal, right, going on over there.
Exactly. You're not talking to just some AI robot or anything. You're talking to real people, guiding you throughout the way.
They're real people.
We love real people. Hey, question. Hey, what's up and coming? Something that only that BCB Live followers can hear now. What's the next big thing you're working on with Action Service?
Yeah, so the next,
super secret. Super secret. We won't say anything.
With connected services in general, right? With remote programming, you'll see it being more automated in the future. You don't even need to even speak to Volvo Action Service in the future. I mean, let's say if you're crossing state lines and the speed limit changes from, 70 miles per hour to 65, you can automatically change your vehicle max speed it'll automatically change from 70 to 65, stuff like that, Or we'll be introducing fuel reports and safety reports where you can get the data in a nice dashboard where you can see, how safe is this driver compared to another driver's driving behavior. You can see fuel economy data. So there's a lot of basically data going to be converted into actionable insights in dashboards where you can monitor and use that to coach your drivers to do better. So
how does the software that you're talking about right now, Volvo Action, talk to me and to our listeners here on how you guys perceive that working to make it safer for them? What do you believe the software is doing to keep them safer on the road?
Yeah, so mainly what the software can do is provide enough data to identify trends, right? It's all about using data to convert into actionable insights. So what you do with that data is the main thing. So for example, if you monitor a driver doing a lot of hard braking events, you can probably monitor a trend in that, certain hard braking events. And then you can take that information and have a fact-based conversation with the driver and say, look, I'm noticing that there's a lot of hard braking events in your driving behavior. Maybe you should tweak it a bit to make it better. Or you can notice lane departure events, right? The camera is monitoring the lines and you notice that this certain driver is having more lane departure events than another driver. Then you can be like, look, I'm noticing this. If you change your driving behavior, then you can predict that, I mean, you can also do it the other way around. You can see that if this driver has a lot of lane departure warning events and hard braking events, it's more likely that they're going to experience an unsafe event versus another driver. So it's basically how you analyze the data and use it to prevent an accident in the future, right? So.
Gotcha. I'm going to tell you too, from what we hear, and talking to the drivers on here, what I also believe is another big benefit to drivers is letting them know that the problem's been addressed and that they have a place to go to. There's a lot of value in the knowledge and sharing that information with the driver because it gives them the peace of mind to once again stay focused on the road, knowing that you've already have that spot for them at that shop in Dallas or wherever they're going.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah. It's always giving them the confidence that they're doing good and, make a little bit more tweaks and you'll do even better, So, but fact-based.
Actually, when you talk about that and what I think, I'm just going to add on to what Rick's talking about. When they have more confidence in you and the Action Service, they have more confidence in what's going on around them, which alleviates a lot of stress. And when they and they're better able to not be distracted by that stress, whether it be worried about are they going to be able to get me when I get there? How long am I going to be down? Or do they even know the situational problem of what's going on? And when you tell a driver, hey, it's a fuel pressure sensor, going on, and we know what it needs. I mean, when that happens, when a driver's told that and go, hey, I got you when you come in, we're going to change that fuel filter because there's a little bit of back pressure on there. The driver's like, yeah, man, it's nice to know that they kind of understand what's happening, and I don't have to walk in and explain what that hissy feely noise is, and that and try to go, hey, I'm getting that little going on in the truck, and everybody's looking at you trying to explain. You already know the problem, and I'll tell you, it adds to the safety of the driver because he's not distracted by the issue. Because I'll tell you, I've walked into a shop and said, well, it's got this noisy thing when you turn it to the left.
What's that noise sound like, Josh?
Yeah, there's that noise. Then they want you to describe the noise, and then you got guys in there making noises with, they're doing some kind of thing. But now we're talking about already diagnosed the issue when you walk in. I'll tell you, that's a big comfort and a big, like you said, confidence to the driver to know what's going on out there on the road.
No, I mean, you can't say it better than that. Yeah, it's all about physical and mental fatigue, right? So at Volvo, we try everything to reduce the mental fatigue, because if you have mental fatigue, it leads to wrong decision-making, stress, and wrong decision-making would lead to a bad event. So yeah, we want to eliminate mental fatigue, whether that's by giving you certainty on what's going to happen, whether it's reducing noise inside the cab, reducing vibrations in the cab, whether it's better steering for you to have lots of peace of mind. Everything we do is to reduce mental and physical fatigue. Yeah, definitely.
All right, Ashley, big time. There's a rumor going around about Volvo Action, and I just need you to say, is it what Volvo Action has or doesn't have? And this rumor may just have came up all of a sudden too. So here it is. If in fact they're a trucking company just has a driver they have to bring in, is there some secret office back there that Volvo Action can throw it over and all of a sudden take over the driving for that truck and get it off the road or get it to that get it back to that truck terminal?
Maybe in the future.
but not yet, right?
It's got
we can't call Volvo Action and say, hey, take it over. We need you to bring this guy back home.
Volvo Action Service, the abbreviation is a VAS. The same thing, we're going to have Volvo Autonomous Solutions. So it could happen.
There you go. I'm on to something right here.
Got some acronyms cross-referencing there.
That's exciting. That's exciting stuff. And I want you to know from a technology aspect what you do back behind the scenes at Volvo Action Service. And I think it's also important, Dave, that you pass this on to the people up in Greensboro as well. Is what you're doing up there is critical, not only to a trucking company, but to the safety mindset that's going on. To be able to predict that a truck may be unsafe is critical to get that truck off the road and get it fixed. To know that something doesn't need to be fixed and it can wait 3,000 or 4,000 more miles or 1,000, whatever that is. That's also critical to the mindset of that truck driver out there, because they don't have to worry. There's enough distractions out there right now that, boy, let me tell you, anything you can do to help them, it really does make them a safer driver on the road.
Absolutely.
So critical in that.
Yeah, and it's exciting. So who is Volvo Action Service only available to Volvos at this time, or who is this service available to?
Yeah, only Volvos at this time. Right? Yeah, Volvo Action Service. It's a Volvo unique feature. It's a brand. It comes with the brand. If you buy a Volvo truck, you get that right off the bat for 2 years standard with the purchase of your truck. So
nice.
Can't go out there and buy a Peterbilt and have Volvo monitor all that, right? Kind of makes sense. Volvo Action Service. I get it. I think I like it. Hey, I want to thank you for being on BCB Live. Want to again just to remind you and just to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing to make our roads, to make these trucks a little bit safer, not only for the four-wheelers out there, but to get our drivers back home safe. There's so many challenges they deal with, and what you do continues to be a major impact and creates major, improvement upon their habits as drivers. Hey, Ashley, before you get out of here, I need you to say your name, that I'm with Volvo Action Services, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Hey, this is Ashley Murrican representing Volvo Action Services from Volvo Trucks, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right. Thanks,
appreciate
Ashley.
you, man. Great job, and keep it up, okay?
Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. It was a great time.
All right. Bye now.
We appreciate you, man. Great interview there with Ashley. Coming back, we have Buckle Up Bob. We're going to go into a little bit of weather, and we're going to dive into that. After that, we're going to talk videos. We always love the videos here on BCB Live. Drive safe, Dave. We are
the safest station in the nation.
good morning, everybody, on this starting this Monday. Hey, we're going to get started with some really important weather. We got another horrible week lining up, and we're going to start with your wind gusts, okay? Looks pretty good, right? But then about 8 a.m. this morning, you start to see that northwest corner. Now watch as I drag this through the week. Really going to get bad right there in Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, Wyoming, Montana. And then we start to drag it into Tuesday. You can look at that. It just mushrooms down to Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, right? And as we go through, it breaks up a little bit. Still got some trouble areas. But then, look at that. You're going to be looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds and higher. We get a little bit of a break there on Thursday, and then, boom, look at that. Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas. So, again, you're going to be looking at that 67-mile-per-hour winds as you go through. So we're not going to get much break till about Wednesday. And we get a little wind, just not as bad through a lot more of the country, but all negotiable. But for the next, starting today, for the next 4 days, we are going to see a bunch of wind again this week. We are also going to see some storms kick up tonight. Start here, you can look how severe them are. Them are on a scale of 1 to 5, so they're going to expect tornadoes. As I draw this out, you can see as it moves across the south, and then another system funnels in behind it. And then if you watch in Florida, that just kind of stalls and backs up and joins the system. So again, here we are at Thursday. So again, we've got some strong storms all the way across the southern. Going to start in Dallas, Oklahoma tonight, around 8, 9 o'clock possibly. And then it's just going to intensify as the week goes. So we're going to have a lot of wind and a lot of storms this week as we go through the week. We're going to take a short break. Be right back with some safety.
Welcome back to BCB Live, safest station in the nation. Buckle up, Bob. That is a lot of wind coming in.
It is.
I mean, that's some serious wind. And when we talk about the wind coming and pushing through, these next 3 days especially, right, we really have to watch it. You know what? When you're traveling out there, even if you have a heavy load, it doesn't make you in the clear.
No. Once you get above 45 miles, wind gusts or sustained winds, it doesn't matter how heavy you are. You will be blown over at the right situation. Again, that's a big sail that you're hauling back there. It doesn't matter once they get up above 45. And we are going to see a lot of areas that are going to be well above the 50s. So drivers, plan to shut down. Be safe. It is what it is. Wind, just like ice, is very sporadic. So you could be in a 20-mile area that there's no wind, but you are heading in to some dangerous wind. So you've really got to find that place to shut down because they'll fill up quickly.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, drive safe, Dave. You're a man of the road. On your trips out there on the road, when you encountered heavy wind, was that in your mind the time to go faster? Did that help? Curtail that at all?
That does not help. Heading faster, driving faster, all that does is compound the issue, compound the problem, especially going in certain areas. You want to slow down, take it a little bit easier because you may have to change direction of the truck at a higher speed. It can be very volatile. I will tell you that also make sure that when you are running empty, you are very mindful and understanding that how dangerous an empty trailer is that you're dragging and bouncing down the road. You want to make sure that you keep in mind what kind of weather, wind you're going to be approaching and or crosswinding you as you drive. It can be very, very dangerous.
You know, we talk about, here we are, we're talking about the wind, we're talking about the situational awareness. Man, it's so many things that we see when you're aware of your situation. Heavy traffic, rain, snow, ice, wind. You just don't hear very often that it's time to go faster. It always, often, times it's time to reduce fog.
Yeah,
there's another one, right? Yeah. Situational awareness is key because I think what it does and what it should tell yourself is that based on where I am, it's time to slow down. Even if the speed limit says 55, buckle up, Bob, you've spoken about this many times over the years, is that you go slower than what you think's even the safest, right?
Yeah, usually what we find out is 5 or 10 miles more slower than what you thought was a safe speed is usually what would have prevented the accident or the situation. So, yes, just understand, and it doesn't make you a bad driver or a bad person. We just all have a higher opinion of ourselves, and we just got to realize that situational awareness and say, okay, look, I think it's this. Take it another 5 or 10, and you're going to be probably the best you should be.
Yeah, and if a car passes you and they don't flip you off, that means you may be going too fast. That's how you know you've reduced it. Slow enough is when you get the reactions around the big truck.
Yeah, you don't want to. And as we talk about, you don't worry about what they do. You're always, and you might be driving, and they're going to give you that sign anyway, that number 1 sign, no matter what you do. But I will tell you, always approach these difficult situations with caution. And as you do, that just means slow down a little bit. Be prepared to always stop in front of you. Make sure that area in front of you is clear enough that you can stop in that space. You've got to control that space in front of you. And we talk about the wind, and we talk about these different situations. These winds can kick up dust. They can blow debris into the road. They can make it hazardous. And as you're driving, they can push you around in the lanes as well. Even the 35-mile-an-hour gust or a 30-mile, they can kick you over into another lane, and they can draw you out of the lane that you're in. And you got to be really mindful and very cautious as you drive down the road, and being mindful of how that wheel and what's going on with you, because you are subject to to those currents out there.
Have you ever? I'm curious. You've driven for many years. Have you ever come close where you thought you were going over?
Yeah, pulling an empty one time, I got a little nervous, but I stopped and turned into the wind for a minute. But it was actually at a spot where it was like a gully. I came up behind a hill and over, and it was like a valley, and the tumbleweeds are rolling by really fast, and you get a little nervous. But you know what? I've been very lucky, and I think a lot of it has to do with being at the right place at the right time, and being at the wrong place at the wrong time. A lot of very experienced drivers get out there and get in those high wind areas, and it just catches them by surprise. I mean, be honest. Let's sit here and be honest. We don't really know where tornadoes, however safe you can be, tornadoes touch down all the time and cause great havoc. And those are high winds. And you've got to be mindful of where you're headed and what you're doing. And if you know there's going to be high winds out there, be mindful of that and understand the dangers of that. And as you approach that or in that, you've got to be careful and cautious.
Yeah, and Sir Rick, you bring up technology, right? Using technology. We have at our advantage, which you didn't have maybe back then, was we have all this technology to tell you that, yes, you don't know when a tornado is coming, but we can tell you that the conditions are ripe, that you need to plan for them.
Yes,
Once
sir.
the conditions are ripe for a tornado or these strong wind gusts, then you have to plan and assume they're going to happen. That's what you do. Plan for the worst, and if the best happens, you're great. But if you plan for the best and the worst happens, then usually that's where something bad can happen to you.
Yeah, Drive Safe Dave, when he was out driving, he would go through the old Farmer's Almanac to see what's this saying it's going to do today.
Nothing wrong with the Farmer's Almanac. I can guarantee that. But the Weather Channel was something, and you watched, or you always got the weather. I'll tell you, the weather was a big deal at truck stops. People always watch the weather, and there'd always be a live weather update going on. We always are interested to know what we're going into. You have more options today on your smartphones, on your tablets, on your computers to be able to forecast where you're headed. Bob does a great job of showing you the weather, but he's not going to see where you're headed. You are. You're going to know, and you're going to know what time you're there. You may have 500 miles to go today, but you also have the opportunity to know what it's going to look like 500 miles in the future, where you're headed. So just kind of know what's going on. Pre-plan.
Yeah, buckle up, Bob. Today, as we begin the week, we started off with
Fatigue driving.
Fatigue driving.
And it's been a while since we've touched this, and we just came off of daylight savings, and your jobs aren't getting easier out there, let's face it. So it's important that you get better. And we've seen some of that, and we want to continue that. And normally we will build up, right? We'll give you some things. But I just want to start right off with the end result. When you're fatigued, you have only one option, and that's just stop driving. Find a place and get off the road. Then figure out the game plan. Don't try to figure out a game plan while you're fatigued and keep driving another 170 miles. Fatigue, as soon as you know it, get off the road. And we're going to talk a little bit later in the week about some of the signs and some of the conditions. But I just want to start with the end result is get off the road.
If you have toothpicks in your eyes, it may be time to get off the road. If you're putting cinnamon or throwing cinnamon in your eye or Bengay in your eye to try to stay awake, listen, if you're seeing dinosaurs crossing the road, you may be past that point. Yes, you are at that fatigue. But let's talk about this for real, because when things change, and Dave, this morning we spoke about the revenue changing, right? We're seeing less volume out there. We're seeing rejections being turned down, and for the independent contractor out there, they're seeing less money, which sometimes means I have to run more miles. Listen, running more miles is one thing. You can do that, and as long as you're able to do that safely, it's okay. Right. But you can't, it's a fine line there between safety and that part. Meaning you've got to recognize when you're at that point and whether that load's going to be late, you're fatigued, no matter, it's unsafe. You've got to make that decision, that value-driven decision, that value on life to pull off the road. Those are the differences right there. And again, real talk means you're going to try to push it harder today than you did 6 months ago because the rates may be different. And we can't make money decisions over life decisions.
Yeah, you can't. You got to be real with yourself and be honest with yourself. I tell you, that's the hardest, probably the hardest thing to do, is to because that denial creeps in. I know I got this. I know I'm a little tired, but all I need is 100 more miles. That 100 more miles can be the most dangerous miles that you'll have all day if you're not at 100%. Why would you want yourself out there? Why would you want anyone behind the wheel that isn't 100%? And you wouldn't like it if you were driving next to a person staring at a cell phone. You've got to look at it the same way. If you're fatigued driving, you're just, if not more so, distracted than that person running by with a cell phone. So you got to be that genuine honesty that yourself says, you know what, I need to pull over, and there's nothing wrong with a nap, guys. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a nap. You just call, communicate, let people know what you're doing. Hey, look, I'm tired. I need a 2-hour nap. Get that 2-hour nap. Get you something to drink and get back out there on the road. You can be safe that way.
Yeah, and before we hop in the videos, I just want to stay on this for one more second, because I was thinking about that when you were talking, is that, that is another advantage, was my initial thought of an experienced driver, is that they know when they're too tired, right? They know that part, but that means they've fallen asleep though before as well, or they've gotten to that point where they were driving unsafe. And,
right.
And I think you as a human, you as a person, when you're having that conversation with yourself,
right,
it's time to get off the road.
Absolutely.
When you're having that conversation, whether you've been driving for a year or 25, when you're having that means you've recognized there's danger, to yourself, to the, to the others out there, and it's time to get off that road for a second, because you've already thrown the flag up. Mm-hmm. Right now, you have to act upon that flag. Buckle up, Bob. What kind of videos we have today?
Well, we've got some good ones, and we got some we can learn from. Again, the four-wheelers out there. Look at this. Construction all around. You got cones. Look how close. And you're on a bridge, and there goes an...
Yeah, I did not see that coming. I will tell you, I did not see that coming. Holy snap. Are you kidding me?
Look at that. This guy is dead or somebody dies if this is a...
Thankfully, the vehicle that's going the other way, the lead vehicle, is paying attention.
Yes.
What a moron. What a moron. You know what? We're going to have moron of the day. We want to celebrate these heroes. This is the moron of the day. Let's hunt down this person and show them that they just won moron of the day. That is crazy.
Is that the four-wheel fool?
Oh my God.
Well, we do have another candidate, so Sir Rick can decide.
Seriously?
Yes, we do. And here he is, or she. Look at this. Whoa! I thought he was going right into it. And again, what we want to celebrate here is this driver. Look at the speed and space. There is zero chance that this driver would have been caught up. If this guy would have kept going and hit them vehicles, this driver is not going to be in it. Going to be able to stop immediately. Just situational awareness, awesome job. You had a moron issue and a safe issue by the driver.
Phenomenal space of, phenomenal reduction in speed. This is what we learn from when you see something out there, you don't keep up on it, right? You get yourself out of the danger up ahead. Great job. We see another moron candidate, but we also see a hero candidate here, Sir Rick Award winner, possibly.
Possibly. And we talk a lot about 3 seconds for each lane change, right? That vehicle started out okay. Turn signal on, got in the lane there that they're in. But then they were going to immediately go to the other one. And I'm just going to set that up because we're going to see another video where we need to remember that. Again here, folks, look at this. Just slow down. There's no slowing. There's no slowing. There's no slowing. Where are you going?
Oh, mama
You just
mia.
have to slow down. Let them out. Yield that right away, right? What do we talk about? Yielding the right of way will prevent 99.9% of all accidents.
Is there any chance this is a dash from a car and not a truck?
No.
Gosh.
It is
Why
not.
would we do that to one another? I mean, let's just go into the first thing. First of all, we see it happening right now. Maybe he shouldn't, or this driver shouldn't cross out in front of this, but they did. Nothing we're doing right now makes any sense, right? This is anger right here. This is dangerous driving. This is making my point that you went out when you shouldn't have been out, and I'm going to show you who's king of the road.
I'm going to buzz you.
Yes, that makes no sense on this thing. If you hit this, if you hit the vehicle that pulled out in front of you, you're guilty.
Yes.
You're the one that's in the wrong.
It was 100% preventable.
Especially with the video.
Yes.
I mean,
100%
Dave, talk to me on this. I mean, this doesn't make any sense.
First of all, I get moving over, but there's no reduction in speed. There's no chance. What if he had to stop? What if the truck turning right had to come to a stop for whatever reason? We can't see it. We don't know it, but you can't see what's on the other side of the truck right now. What if I have to stop right now? You are way too close to be, and this is just aggressive driving, right? Would y'all agree this is absolutely aggressive driving?
For certain. That truck, the cab, that almost looks like a Swift driver on the cab, and it doesn't matter. So let's pretend it's a new driver, a student driver, somebody coming out right now doing this thing. Is this how we want to welcome them to our industry? Is this what we want to do to show them they shouldn't have done this? Nothing about this is right. Let me tell you something, drivers. You should be mad at yourself right now for seeing. I mean, because this is what's representative of you, of our industry. When we see these videos, this is whoever this driver is, brand new into the industry. Say, hey, welcome. You know what? When you make a mistake, we're gonna freaking buzz you.
Yeah, and you know what? You have the opportunity here to be the leader of this and to be courteous and to give the space necessary for that truck to come out and control the lanes behind you. Yeah. So you have every opportunity here to be the better person and be the safer driver. If you had slowed down and approached this vehicle and let them clear the lane and move by them slowly and waved, and everybody would have had a great day. I mean, and you would have lost no time whatsoever. You're losing nothing. And by the way, this is an access road. I'm sure the speed limit is only 45 miles an hour. You got to be really mindful of that and be courteous, be kind, and be considerate always out there on the road, and especially to your brothers and sisters in behind the wheel.
Yeah, because you can see after this, there's orange cones. Part of this highway is under construction. You have all these businesses, which we know this is an intersection, right? As long as there's another road coming, and again, you've got to be prepared for people to pull out. It's going to happen. There's just so many things going around that you're right. 55, 60 miles an hour is way too fast for these situations. And here, again, it's hard to tell what was going on in the car in front of mine, but great job. And you'll see why traffic's coming to a stop. The driver's slowing down. I do not know if that car got over because they weren't sure of the truck or they had to... we're going too fast. Hard to tell. But again, what you want to see in these videos, drivers out there, you can't predict when this is going to happen. And it can happen at some of the worst areas. Like here is an overpass to where just a few seconds later, people go over guardrail, right? People are going to die. They're going to roll there. It's just, and you can't predict when these things are happening. Why speed and space is so important. Great job by this driver. Not only does it have the speed and space, but able to stop. Look at that. At least 2 truck lengths maybe back behind that vehicle.
Now, I'm going to go with you on this as well. We see some phenomenal spacing in here. You know, just the right spacing you need to be able to react when something bad happens. And up ahead, something bad happens, meaning just a stop, but you're able to slow down and come to a stop without even getting close to the vehicles in front of you. You had that situation awareness. Kudos to you. Drive safe.
I like the fact that the driver controls the lane, not trying to find it out, not trying to escape, but trying to control the lane that he's in or she's in. Right here, not trying to bounce over, not trying to bounce out or do any of that crazy moves, but controlling the lane that they're in and coming to a good, clean stop at a good distance. Everything about this says a great job in being aware and understanding the situation around them at all times.
Yes, sir. And we talked earlier about that four-wheeler doing 3 seconds to do a lane change. Folks, count. You're gaining too fast. Back off right now, right, or sooner. And then the quick lane change. If something goes wrong, something comes off of that flatbed, you don't know that it's secured right, you're stuck. Now, what I want to show you is right here is 44 seconds on the timer, right? And the driver here makes a pass, this flatbed completes a pass 11 seconds later at 55, right? And all you had to do was immediately slow down, and you would have made that same pass safer at around 49 to 50 seconds. Right? Because this driver would have already been by you, and you would have had your 3 seconds of clearance to get out there. So you still would have been almost exactly where you were. The only difference is you make the same maneuver in a much safer environment.
This is a bad habit that we've all been guilty of, coming up on the vehicle in front of us that's driving slower and then waiting to the last second to move over. What we're asking is that you alter this bad habit and get a better and a better habit. A safer habit, and that safer habit is maintaining the distance on the vehicle in front of you until it's safe to move over. This moment right here, when you have these 2 vehicles in front of you, you are tailgating both of them. You are moving from a tailgate situation to another tailgate situation. By no means is this a safe maneuver. What you want to do is not be tailgating this one, wait for this one to pass, and then move over into a non-tailgate position. So both of these is just a bad habit because you didn't come off the speed soon enough or early enough.
So yeah, so we see that, and I want to piggyback off what you're saying there, Dave. Is, you know, we spent a lot of time talking about the stale green lights and intersections on driving, and Dave, you bring this one here. But these are bad habits.
They are.
These driving upon, because I think when you watch it, and I get it's a thing of it's what we did, because we don't want to block that left lane. You know, and that's what you hear from the driver. You talk to a driver more times than not, it's like, well, I didn't want to get over too early because I'm going to block everybody in the back. And I'm saying we've got to change that mentality. And I also think this, Dave, because we hear about that when we talk to other drivers as well, is that we got to make sure that we're educating the drivers that when you're in the right lane, you're getting passed by a truck that's just 2 miles an hour faster than you. You just need to slow down for a second. Take your foot off the pedal. Do something to allow this vehicle, the other big truck, your brother and sister out there, to get by you and get over in front of you. Yeah, they're going to pass you eventually, so why waste it out? You're not going to lose any time either by letting them in. I think we have 2 things that we really got to focus on, guys. I think when we're talking about teaching and spreading out this word, not teaching, but educating people, is number 1, we got to remind them to not to get so close to getting that left lane, and number 2, when you're in the right lane, hey, don't forget to let that person over to your left in front of you. It just takes a second.
Yeah, and I'll tell you when it really is important. It's when that vehicle that's passing you is really doing about the same speed that you are, and you're both running side by side down the freeway for several miles. It should never be that way. You don't want to run side by side of another truck or blocking the road or doing that. You don't want to be running that way. It's just too dangerous. Listen, those tires blow out. Those things, bad things can happen. You want to let that driver get around, and it just takes, you don't even have to, all you have to do is kick off the cruise for just a second, let them go by, and then resume cruising. You can kick back up. I'm telling you, it's not a big deal, and it is courteous. And you'll tell, no driver truly likes to be running side by side with another driver.
Yeah, I'm going to talk autonomous for a second just to bring this up, because when you're the lead vehicle and you're in the right lane, you're an autonomous vehicle. Remember, at this point now, you don't have any feelings. You're not mad. You're not angry that somebody's trying to pass you. You're not wondering why. You really don't care. You're in that right lane. When you see that vehicle on your left coming, you are just going to let him or her in. It's what you do because it's the safest thing to do. And my mind goes around that, folks, is that, think like an autonomous would. And the only thing I like about that is it takes the feelings of anger out of it. And it always thinks about safety first, which means slow down, let them through. Yes, I'm going to lose time, but it's the safest thing to do. I like that aspect when we think about the autonomous. And even if we as humans can learn something from that, I think we learn the fact that they're making safe decisions on the road. That's what they're trying to do.
I think that's a great point, because we all know that drivers out there have some pretty strong and safe values, but they let that emotion or circumstances change their priorities. Where autonomous doesn't do that, right? It's programmed. It is what it is.
They're humans. That's the difference between humans and that. Drive safe. Thoughts on that, and give us a thought on your cone.
Well, I try to wear a safety sign every single day, and this is actually the most common temporary sign out there today, and that is a traffic cone. It's probably widely used in every country, but here it's used all over the place. It is a temporary sign, but it is probably the most common temporary sign in use today, and that is a traffic cone. That's the reason I wear it. And thinking like autonomous, I truly believe we have the ability to always be safer, and I like the idea that we're more courteous. And if you can be even more courteous than autonomous, because the autonomous vehicle can't wave, the autonomous vehicle can't give the thumbs up, the autonomous vehicle can't give all that stuff that you can out there on the road by being the better person, the bigger person, and the safer person.
Autonomous vehicle has both hands on the road and it's looking forward all the time. Yes, it does. Drive safe, Dave. Hey, listen, we want you to be safe out there on the roadway. Thank you for what you do. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all that you do. Hey, keep our drivers safe out there, please. Get them back home to us and to their families, please. Give us the ability to let them in, to recognize and respect what our heroes are out there doing. Lord, thank you for all that you do. Continue to bless us and help us have that ability to recognize when we need to get off that road because we're just too tired, we're too fatigued. Give us the ability to react when that comes up. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. We'll see you later, folks. Listen, make today the safest day you've ever been in your life. We can do this. We can end the streaks. We can stop these accidents on the roadway. We can be the leaders in spite of the four-wheelers, right?
In spite of the four-wheelers.
In spite of the four-wheelers. We'll see you this afternoon. God bless. Take care. This is BCB Live. We're the
safest
station in the nation.